just entered the bear crawling nation. This is Mordant Mon. Welcome to the other side of live.
And that would be your cue to go, welcome to the other side of live.
I was taking a breath just as you said that. welcome to the other side of live. That's right. It is the Charles and Mordant show tonight. We are having so much fun with our brand new technical things and fandangled equipment that is like, why isn't this working this week? And it was working just fine last week. So hello, everybody, and welcome to the other side of live, where it is, remember, not therapy, just a voice.
So how are you doing?
How are you doing out there? And that voice in the distance, that ghost in the machine, is Charles McFall. That's right, the dark side of positive. Say hello, Charles.
Hello. This is what happens when my control issues hit non-control issues, and I don't get to broadcast. Oh, well. Hey, Rathburn is back. Rathbun, so we can Rathburn you tonight. Or burn
all right.
me.
Even Gitmo Slave says you have a weird flanger on your voice.
It ain't me. I'm telling you, Mr. Man over here tries to get all technical 5 minutes before the show, and he does changes the settings, and I had said, blah, 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 blah. That's all I can say. It's not me, man. I had that stuff set. But we got to go on. The show will go on, and everybody can get the reverb version tonight, and you'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Maybe you should just talk less. Maybe that's what's in.
You know, I will.
Don't leave me.
And I forgot to start our timer. So there we go. Start a timer.
Well, before we get into the show, before we get into what I usually like to talk about is what happened last week. But this is perfect because this week is called Overcoming Hiccups. And that's right. We have just been wrath-burned. So we will be talking about that. But last week we had an interview with Onça O'Leary, which we called Burlesque Dreams and the Accidental Circus. What did you think about that, Charles?
She was a very, very cool, strong woman. And she broke our system, so now it's reverby.
That's what I think is going on. I have no idea what this. I'm not even recording. I hope you are.
Yes, of course I. Oh. Yes, I'm recording.
Good.
I hate you sometimes.
So, yeah, she was a very strong woman, and she showed that you can go out and chase your dreams, catch your dreams, all that kind of jazz that we like to talk about, while at the same time raising a family in her own way. So it is definitely worth giving it a listen to.
As a single mother, too.
As a single mother. Well, yes, she's getting married, though. She's getting married, I think, in April.
Right, but the point was she did it as a single mom for a while anyway, and so there's no excuse. She can't go, well, she has kids, too, and she still did it.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, Overcoming Hiccups. The reason I brought this up and wanted to do this show was because of my recent snafu with Success Freaks, where I went ahead and I did my talking to 1,000 people abbreviated speech. And I recorded it. I put it up on the site. I recorded it through Stickcam. Everything was great, except there was no sound. And that was a real setback for me. It was a real, kind of a kick in the face from the universe. I did this right. I took care of everything I was supposed to do, and yet there was no sound. So what was up with that?
You're holding your mouth wrong.
I was holding my mouth wrong.
Yeah.
That's what it was. I was breathing. And yet nothing was coming out.
It's just one of those things where life happens, much like tonight, where on the podcast, it sounds perfect because that's in the Bear Calling Studios. How on the live show, it's going out through Tosol Studios, and for some reason, for whatever reason, it's sounding weird, and that's the way things go sometimes.
Now, I want to tell all of our listeners out there, just so they know, that Charles and I have a lot of fun with this, and yeah, we may be kvetching and all that, but this is live internet radio, so So we're doing it with a smile on our face, and later on we'll talk about it and go and laugh. Is what I'm assuming.
Hey,
it'll come out. It'll sound golden because that's the way the Bear Crawling Nation runs. He mixes it very, very well.
And I since I'm reverby, apparently I can do my my Spartan impersonation now. This is no agenda. So there you go.
There you go. There's a sound bite for you.
I want to tell before we get into
don't laugh.
Before we get on the hiccups and all that stuff, I want to talk about we help each other out. You and I, we talk to each other. There's times when I give you advice. There's times when you give me advice. Although your advice to me is always public. My advice to you, you tend to hide and not tell people I'm smart. But that's okay. I don't have rejection issues or nothing like that.
I believe they know you're smart right now because, like you said, it's coming out perfect on your end. And my end, I'm like, I don't know.
That's just a wrong button.
It's equipment and stuff.
That's just a wrong button got hit. That's all that is. So you used the phrase winner, lucky winner. And that's usually referring to when somebody calls up and they're mad about all these things in the world building up. And you get to be yelled at, even though you didn't deserve to being yelled at. I am notorious for taking things personal. That shouldn't be personal. I'm notorious for getting my feelings hurt, for not being able to control things I can't control. And the other day, my boss, well, she's not my boss anymore. She's my coworker. She used to be my boss. She called up. We had a good working relationship. And she knows that how I work. And I usually have my chance to defend myself or figure out what happened with anything that went wrong. Well, she calls up and she's just yelling at me. And I started to explain myself, and she said she didn't want to hear it. And I knew immediately, I'm the lucky winner. This really isn't about me. And I was able just to be calm and happy and let her get it out and talk about things and realize she's not just yelling about my issue. She's yelling about the 50 other issues she's had to deal with that she shouldn't have to. And I was a lucky winner. And when she's done, it's like, do you feel better? Because it feels like you're going to have a stroke if you don't feel better after that. And she started laughing, and she did feel better. But I've learned how to handle and recognize. The key first is to recognize you're the lucky winner, that you're being yelled at, not because you did something wrong, but because they need somebody to yell at.
Right.
So
now, as you come back, was that just today, or when did that happen?
Yeah, Monday. So yesterday. It happened yesterday.
Has she come back and said anything to you since?
Yeah, I called her, and I said, I'm making sure you're still alive and that you didn't stroke out and die. And she was laughing and talked very calmly about stuff and really actually gave me the points I needed to hear. So, yeah.
Good,
so, yeah, it's good.
Well, you know, and that's we learn from each other. Charles and I were often talking off of the radio as well about the things that we're going through. We try not to do that anymore so that we can talk about them on this show. And it's interesting to see that both of us have come away from this relationship with a growth that's been happening. Oh my God, I got a growth. What a wild show. All right, I love live. That's all I'm saying. Hello?
Was that? I thought we ended the show. You said that's all you're saying. I thought that was it.
That's all I'm saying. I'm done now. So have you ever, other than this right now, which is this is my ball of wax, have you ever had a hiccup or something that I guess I need to explain exactly what that is. A hiccup is when you're moving forward with something in your life, you know, whether you're working on a project or whatever, and then something happens that just totally derails you. You have to actually throws you off your game. You have to come back and maybe even start the project over. Much like what happened with me with Success Freaks. I am going to do it over. I'll either do it this week or the next, but not waiting until next month. Because it does. I had a lot of good stuff to say right then, and even though I think, it was said perfectly the first time, it's hard to recover from that, but I will. Charles, have you ever had anything similar to that happen to you?
All the time. And I think you should throw out the phone number and ask the audience on that, because that's a good one, and I'll get into the story.
I'm going to throw out that number, 813-413-7133. If you want to call us up and talk about your hiccups or discuss any of ours, feel free to call in. You might actually be able to hear us clearly then.
Well, only call in if you have something relative to say, like your cousin or something.
Yeah.
So I don't know. There's way too many to count on that from podcasting issues to, I've lost many a show. I've lost hard drives in the middle of a show. I guess that'd be the worst thing is I've lost my internet in the middle of a show. When I was back on Stickcam, we just randomly lose connection and the servers would go down, just especially when you're here in studio and we're doing the camera and we're talking and we see the server shuts down. There's no more connection. And that means the whole live show is gone and we're talking to nobody except each other. But I'm not talking to you because I'm trying to fix the problem and you're trying to carry out, yeah, tons of issues that are little, but they will make you fall flat on your face.
Right, absolutely. And there's been shows that are lost or that we found or we didn't actually record it or, things that happen just like that. With me, a lot of mine has to do with writing. I've been working on a fantasy novel for many years now, and there's some I'll have an idea about something and I just won't write it down. Or I'll be writing something, and this is before I learned to save very frequently. Suddenly, I'll lose power on my computer, and that's all gone. All that, the full page of stuff or more, and that's all gone. I remember that I actually had a friend of mine accidentally wipe my computer, and there was a lot of stuff, a lot of writing that I was like, I'm going to have to go back and do this all over again. And it was something that I didn't know if I would be able to recover from, but fortunately I found the writing that I'd had. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, there's times when you can't. I mean, when you lose a hard drive in the middle of a show, there's nothing you can do. Or here's one that people can relate to probably a little bit more. In my work, I create reports. I go through a bunch of data, a bunch of electronic data, and it takes time. There's software issues. There's all this stuff. And if it's really messy, it can really drag me down emotionally and mentally. My energy level just goes down. There's this issue we have with the software we use that sometimes it gets an error when you're saving the report and you lose everything. Everything you did is gone and you have to go back and start over. And the worst case scenario is I spent 1 hour working on this one report, just tearing through it, fighting the machine, headache. Oh my God, I'm done. And then it crashed. And now I have to go through it again.
That's brutal.
It is. And there's literally nothing we can do to prevent it. It doesn't happen that often, thankfully. But honestly, the only thing, I think this will roll you right into what you want to talk about. The only thing you can do is pick yourself up and start over because you have to.
Right. And the same thing happens when I'm working with the Tortuga twins. We'll be working on some comedy stuff, or we're working on our lines, or writing a new show, and then all of a sudden something will be said perfectly, and then we'll try to get back to it, and it's like, oh, what did you say? So, we've learned the answer for that one, though. We've learned to record our sessions so we can go back and go through it and go, okay, what was that? How was that said? That was said great and naturally the first time. The answer for whenever I'm writing so that things don't get lost is save often. Whenever you're doing some kind of creative thing with other people, record it. It doesn't take up much space on anything anymore. I mean, our technology is so there. You can do recording on your phone, and that's saved.
Unless you have an iPhone and you hold it with your left hand, then you're just screwed.
Yeah. Yeah, buddy.
You don't know what I'm talking about, do you?
No, I don't have it. I'm just going to agree with you.
Okay.
Yes.
To explain it to those who don't know, the iPhone 4, I think it was when it came out, had this new technology where the whole case is the antenna, but for some reason, I guess where the antenna attaches on the left side, if you hold it, the first versions, when you held it with your left hand, you'd lose all signal. But if you held it with your right hand, you wouldn't be blocking the connection or the antenna or whatever, and you could talk. So that's the joke, is literally, and they denied it for a while, and then they just fixed it. But if you held that phone with your left hand, you could not use it. It was a dead phone, essentially.
Right. Absolutely.
It's not funny when you have to explain it.
And I'm just sitting here going, whatever. I just came away from me. I had a steam powered phone for a long time, and it's been less than a year that I now have a smartphone. It is indeed smarter than I am right now.
Well, I'll give you credit. You thought it was a steampunk phone, and so we just didn't have the heart to break it to you.
Yeah. You know, I tried to keep that cool, and it just wasn't happening for me. So once again, 813-413-7133. Call in. I dare you. Become part of this madness and share some of your hiccups that you had to deal with, and maybe what you did to deal with them as well.
So what?
But in the meantime, Charles and I are just going to talk to each other.
Well, you know, here's one thing. I want to throw this to you and let you go off. I think you can go off on this one. I saw on Facebook you posted about the hiccups, and usually I don't even see what we're talking about because I like it that way. I like to just kind of come in, get the thoughts as they come to me, the stories as they pop up, that kind of thing. And I saw that it was on the hiccups and carrying on. And I don't know. I mean, the one thing I thought of for myself is from an early age, I knew I was destined to do something great. And I knew as I grew up, I loved interacting with people. I could figure out how to connect with somebody fairly quickly, meet them on their level, talk to them, that kind of thing. And I was drawn to music, and I just kept hitting the brick wall with music, and hitting the brick wall with music, and hitting the brick wall. And I didn't know what to do, and this podcasting thing came around, and I started messing with that, and this and that and the other. And there were so many stories I could tell of just starting and failing, making bad decisions, sacrificing family. And I was on the side of an interstate with the car had run out of gas. The long story short is I was in a place I never should have allowed myself to get put in because I wasn't dealing with my life. I wasn't chasing my dream. I was chasing my tail and sacrificing my family with it. And sitting there on the side of the road, I made my priorities. You know, my family first, work second, and at the time, the band was third. And then the band imploded, and there was nothing. I mean, I was depressed. I was just a failure, and just sat. I regretted all the bad decisions I made. I was depressed because I couldn't get off the ground to save my life. And I was starting to do this podcasting thing, and even that failed the first couple of times out of the gate. But the reason I kept going is just because I believed. I knew I had to keep going. I knew I'm going to do something. It was just in me. It's one of those things where I was driven to be with people. You know, I was driven to my potential will not be met sitting at a desk making reports. It will never be met that way. My brain has always been my strongest feature, and I'm 6'6", and I can lift heavy.
Excellent.
Heavy stuff. I got a beep for that. Sorry.
I do one.
I do. There's my one. I can lift heavy things. But my brain has always been my strongest asset. I can figure out puzzles that other people can't see. I can see steps to get where you want to go. My potential is not met. Even riding on an ambulance as a paramedic, it's not met there either. I'm an idea guy. I'm a visionary. This is just what I do. And so I always kept going because there was no other option. There was no quitting because my brain wouldn't shut off. You know, I guess if you want to be a photographer, you can quit taking pictures. That means you're going to quit seeing the world around you. You know, that's what kept me going is I always believed in my destiny. And when belief is a strong thing, right? And here's where I'm throwing it to you. Belief is a strong thing. When you believe, truly believe, which means you live out of it. When you believe, nothing's going to stop that, not even you.
I think that belief is almost everything, what you believe you can do, and that's going to be the impetus to push you forward. I remember reading, Harv Eker talks about in his book, Secrets of Millionaire Mind, he talked about he was watching a sporting event, and it might even been the Olympics. He was watching, and I can't remember her name, some runner that had been training for the last 4 years, and she was doing the hurdles, and she was out in front winning, or it might even been the first hurdle. She hit that first hurdle and wound up on the ground, and she was out for that race. So I think it was the next day he saw an interview with her, and instead of saying, "Oh, look, I got robbed," or this happened, she says, "I don't know why it happened. Maybe it was supposed to happen because there was something that I had to learn, but I know that I'm going to be training more and harder over the next 4 years." She didn't give up because she believed in herself. She believed in her ability, And that was a huge hiccup. That was something that was, you train for 4 years and you're taken out of it. You don't even get the chance to lose. You're just down. She believed in herself enough to keep going with that. And I'm not sure what happened to her beyond that, but what a fantastic story. If you believe that you're supposed to be doing something, whatever it is, so it doesn't matter what hiccups you get in your life, you're going to keep going. You're going to start using those hiccups as things that you need to learn. They're going to show you the kinks in your armor. Oh, look, this is shining a light on my weak spot. Now, I know I'm supposed to be doing this. I know I'm supposed to be having this kind of life, but it doesn't matter that this bad thing has happened to me. If anything, there's a silver lining with this bad thing because it's showing something that I need to learn now, not when I'm juggling all of this huge thing that I've become right now where I'm just in the beginning. So hiccups that happen, especially if they happen to you early in life, what a gift that is, really. Like right now, what a gift that that this is happening. There's something that I need to learn, something that I've fiddled with. What a great thing that this is happening now at the beginning of our being on the No Agenda stream, where everybody is a little more forgiving instead of later on where they're thinking, all right, Mordant, you need to get your stuff together because this ain't happening no more. We're not going to listen to you. We're not going to come by because you sound funny and you make Charles sounds funny. So what a great thing that this is happening for me now, because this is something that I get to learn. I'm using a lot of new equipment that I'm not used to. I'm dancing around with a lot of different things that I'm not used to. This is the time for me to learn from this hiccup, because I believe this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And I believe that I think that both of us do it very, very well. And we make this fun. Even though it's kind of weird like this, we make it fun and entertaining for you to tune into.
And then...
And then...
And you're making the mistake that we all make. You put it off to the last minute, and you didn't do it in time to ask for help.
Well, put it off into the last minute and didn't realize there needed to be help. Everything was fine,
but that's
until
procrastination.
The other equation came in. So we need to set up earlier, is what this is saying.
That's the procrastination, though, is that's what we do. And human nature is we sit there and we go, I'll get to. Well, showtime's 9:30. 9:15, I'm calling you. And we were meeting at 9 o'clock and 8:45, and I guess you just thought you had it. And I'm just using this as an example for tonight. You just thought you had it, but if you had done it at 8:45 and it's not working, then we would have had a ton of time to get help. But you thought there wouldn't. You never know. We all make that mistake. I've made it a million times. I've clocked in late because I didn't get up here in time to let my computers turn on. We wait to the last minute because we think we got it, but it never hurts to prepare to not have it.
Right. But I got to tell you, brother, what a perfect thing to happen for this show, for overcoming hiccups. What a great teaching tool that this. So you know what? Actually, Charles and I are very brilliant. There's nothing wrong. We've set this up so to make a point.
This was
and
rigged.
That's what's going on.
We planned it. Frank, Gitmo Slave is not saying that. He's saying that's one. You only get three. That's one.
Great.
But Gitmo and I were actually talking. He didn't say that. I'm just making that up. But we were talking earlier today, and he's like, "Yeah." When we heard about hiccups and stuff, he's like, "Well, let's talk. Well, you guys talk about." This is funny because you guys talk about procrastination. Maybe I'll ping him up later, and you guys could talk about procrastination because that's what I do. I kind of put it off. How do you get yourself over that get off the couch hump to do something? I said, well, why don't you send me the email and I'll just read it? Because, yeah, I'll get to it. I didn't get the email. He put it off and forgot, which is exactly what he said he was going to do. So that's why it's funny. But that's a great point. How do you get to that point? Because we all know once you get 3-4 steps down the road, you're cruising. I mean, we're 3 weeks in as a nation, as the Bear Calling Nation. We're about three weeks into being on the agenda stream. It's smoothing. It's becoming smooth. But as those first couple of steps where we made this mistake, made that mistake, rushed here, got that there, we had those issues. How do you get to the point where you have the issues to deal with them? How do you get past that procrastination?
Well, you have to realize that there's a problem there. You have to be in it enough to know, oh wait, I need to work on this. Instead of putting it off till last minute and thinking, oh no, I got this. We're gonna have to hook up at least a half an hour earlier. And what's bad about that? You know, we like hanging out anyways. So that ain't such a bad thing at all. But as far as procrastination, what are you going to do to get off the couch? That's kind of, you know, you're the self-starter. We're all kind of in this business, in this quote-unquote business. We're all self-employed here. In the business of chasing and catching your dreams, it's up to you. Nobody else is going to, you know, unless you ask for help, nobody else is going to come and take your hand. Nobody else is coming to the rescue. You are the knight in shiny armor. You know, it's time to put on your big boy pants and show up at the right time. And yes, I'm looking in the mirror as I say this. It's time to put on your big boy pants and show up at the right time and do what you need to do to get it done so that when it comes showtime, it's fun. And don't get me wrong, this is fun as well. It's entertaining, but I don't know. I still think it's the perfect show. It's the perfect thing to happen at this show. And I think that we're brilliant for cooking this up so that everybody, you know, gets the point. I'm going to go with that.
I think you stir the clone of soup in a bad way sometimes. You pick a show all about hiccups and grab it, you know, messing up. And then guess what happens? Let's make a show about winning the lottery. Let's do that one next week. Stir that soup, baby. That's what I'm saying.
Well, you know, I have to say, at times I am a very, very powerful manifester. I get rock star parking like nobody's business because I believe I get rock star parking. You know, you're right. You know, we do a show on hiccups, and boom, this happens. You know, everything is. There's a synchronicity to everything, and it makes it fun. It makes it entertaining, and I'm going to go with that. That's what.
Going back to the procrastination thing, I think human nature is. It's easy to get in a rut. It's easy to become comfortable and then go from comfortable to lazy. It's easy to do that. Where we get unlazy is when we get uncomfortable. We talked about that 2 shows ago. Was it? Well, you didn't phrase it this way, but comfort is the death of your dreams.
Yep.
You know,
staying comfortable is the death of your equals the death of your dreams. Absolutely.
I think you get past procrastination. It's easy to procrastinate when the thing you're putting off is more uncomfortable than what you're doing right now. And then the way to get over that, the way I got over all of my procrastination stuff was seeing the golden carrot, seeing that I wanted more than I have now. When I was in debt up to my eyeballs and miserable and having to file bankruptcy, I would see people who could go about their lives. And I said, that's what I wanted. I saw the Dave Ramsey method. That's what I wanted. I want freedom. I am tired of being miserable. I want to be happy. I see happy people. What are they doing? That's got me moving forward that way. When I wanted to become bigger, better, more, I was stuck in my rut. It was me and some of my guys, and we were just doing little podcasts. And we were trying, but we could never quite hit that ceiling. You know, we never could quite reach out. And I saw somebody who was living the dream, and that'd be our Mordant Mon. And I approached him and talked to him about helping him. And obviously it turned out to be, it changed everything because I saw what I wanted over there, so I decided to go over there. And I think that's how you get past that procrastination is you got to look for what you want. If you're not looking, you're never going to get past it. You got to see what you want to go get it.
Right. Now, also something that I've read, there's a self-helpy guy named Brian Tracy, and he wrote a book called Eat That Frog. And the theory is if you did the worst thing you have to do, the very first thing, that thing that you're dreading, if you ate a frog first thing in the morning, everything else is going to be easy peasy. So, and usually the big frog that we're talking about is that one project or whatever. Oh, I don't want to work on that. You know, we tend to procrastinate when we don't want to do something, and we don't want to do something because we don't feel like we're good at it. It's hard. It's work. I don't want to do that. But if you eat that frog first thing in the morning, and often that is the thing that you need to do most in your life. That's that big project is the thing that's going to step you up. You know, that's just outside your comfort zone. So as soon as you do that, you know, everything else becomes pretty easy as far as what you have to do or what you should be doing. And I've done that a couple of times. It's like, I don't want to do this. So that's the thing. You can use it as a gauge too. What's the thing I least want to do? Yep, that's probably most important right now that I need to do right now. So if I do that, boom, that's top of my list. Now I can choose to ignore that, but if I put it at the top of my list, it's always there staring at me. And once I've eaten that frog, everything else is cake. You know, next to that, oh yeah, slimy, icky frog. Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's that. I've seen some of the chat room go on here, and I did not know the State of the Union was tonight. Maybe we should have planned on doing the problem with the U.S. and how it should get off the couch and get past its hiccups tonight, because that would have been an interesting show with the State of the Union going on.
You know what, my friend? That is definitely something that is covered on the No Agenda stream, but that is not our show. We are here looking for the other side of live, something about more positive stuff.
I thought you said we could be whatever we wanted to be. Well, Rhino,
yeah, no.
Rhino in the chat room, Rhino has an issue here. He says, going to my job is the most important thing with a question mark. And I only read it that way because I've already used my one for the night that I have to beep out, so I can't read it that way. But, yeah, you know what? I think I might have touched on it, but I'm just going to be the brutal honesty here, is I like my job, the job that I have that pays my bills. I like that pays my bills. I do not hate it, but I am dragging the beast, man. I feel like I am trying to push that rock uphill, and it's rolling right back down, because I'm at that point where I just want to work for myself. My passion, my fire is I've got so much I can do in the middle of the day. I've got this list of things I need to do that's building up that would take 3 8-hour days, and I'd be done. And I'd move on to the next list. And I can't because I'm earning that money. And I get up in the morning, and I don't want to be up. But I have to come up here and get into my job and do it. And I have to turn off all the other crap that distracts me so I can do my job right. And that is the top of my list of where we're at about doing the hardest thing on your list. That's the top of my list. Is the job is affording me to do everything that I do in the nation. It buys me the stuff that I need. It pays for the Bear Calling Nation bills. It pays for the food on my table, whereas the nation isn't doing any of that. But that's the burden I carry. I mean, I don't have a crappy job. I have a good job, and it pays me well, and I'm good at my job. But it's like, here's another thing. Here's another thing talking about your hiccups in life. With the Bear Calling Nation, you hit a problem like you hit tonight, I can fix that. We can work that out. We'll fix it. It won't happen again. We can figure that out. I hit problems in my job every day, every hour that there's nothing I can do. I feel helpless. I feel out of control. And it makes me feel like I'm doing a bad job because I'm not where I want to be when I'm working. I'm not where I want to be as far as doing my job when I'm working because of these things that I can't control. And it makes me feel bad. And that's where I'm at. Bear calling makes me feel good. My job makes me feel bad. But I still do my job because I like it. I think a lot of people miss that. They miss the point. Well, I hate my job. Well, maybe there's a different way to look at it, or maybe that's just the burden you carry so you can do the thing you love.
Right. And that's something that even though I love doing what I do, entertaining on stage. What a great job out there making people laugh, laughing a lot myself, jumping around on a stage, acting the fool and getting paid for it. What a great job. But, every once in a while, it's a job. And I have to get into that. And as I get excited about other things, I'm less excited about the job. No matter how fun it is. I want to get caught up in the other side of live stuff. I want to put my energy towards that. But I have to respect where I came from, and I think you're doing the same thing too. You have to remember that your job with you, it is paying for your family, it is paying for that roof over your head, it is funding the Bear Crawling Nation. So you have to find a way to love it and respect it. For me, I've got to learn to love and respect my job and pour as much energy back into it, because honestly, it has given me the gift of being able to talk like this. It has given me, my sense of humor and trained me to be able to make this show a funny show and have a good time with it no matter what. So I have to respect where I came from and still keep putting energy in that, because it's still training me to be a good performer, to be a good speaker, so that I can give my best here in something that is becoming my passion. And the same thing with you. It, like I said, it is funding what you do. My job funds what I do. I can't disrespect it and go, I don't want to do that anymore. That's disrespecting my foundation, and that's not a smart thing to do. Now, if you see an opportunity that will take you to another level elsewhere, that's different. then that's another opportunity that will feed your family, feed your passion, pour money towards the bear crawling nation. But until then, you're absolutely right. You've got to find a reason to be, I am grateful for my job, and not just giving it lip service, but really, really doing that, because there are plenty of people now in this country who don't have a job. So we should be very happy about this.
Oh, I am, without a doubt. I mean, my job is good. I'm fairly secure in it. If for some reason it gets taken away, we have a safety net in place to handle that. And I have plans. I plan for different outcomes. So I'm very grateful for my job and happy. And something that plays into this I want to talk about here in the chat room. Rhino says, I wish I could quit my job and create content full time. And I got to tell you, he'd be good at it. I wouldn't listen to his show. He does a show here on No Agenda Stream on Friday nights. I think it's 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And it's a really good music show. He's really talented, but he's talking about how he's going back to school and how he's got a job and it's taken away from time from him to do his content. And he just wrote here what I said over and over again so many times. I wish I could fill in the blank. And what changed is when you wish you can do something, you let life get in the way. You see that job, you see the credit card bills, you see doom and gloom. But when you say, I am going to do this, when I said I am the Bear Crawling Nation, when I said I am going to run this company, when I said I don't care what the world says, I'm going to have a successful show and I'm going to bring people with me. When I put the I am in place of I wish, everything in life lined up, because it's like a motorboat. The motorboat's going and the waves come off of that. That's how it lined up, is because that was my target. I never took my eyes off of it, no matter what hiccups I hit. I've had people just flat out reject me. I've had people tell me it's a horrible show. I've had people tell me my site sucks. I've had people that I respected tear me down for one reason or another. And I didn't keep going. I didn't stop going. I'm sorry. I didn't stop going because I said I am. And I'll get past these hiccups and I'll get past these road bumps and I'll figure out, because sometimes when people are saying what you're doing is wrong, it's because what you're doing is wrong and you have to figure out how to right the ship. Okay? But sometimes it's just haters got to hate. It's the crabs in the bucket. Crab in the bucket.
Crabs in the bucket pulling you back.
Yeah. It's the crabs in the bucket pulling you down, baby. You know what? The one night Tegan's here in the chat room, that story has not, literally, I promise you, that story has not popped up for weeks. And Tegan's here and it pops right up.
Is she here now?
Yeah, Tegan's in the chat room.
Well, hello, Tegan. Very nice to see you here in the chat room.
Tegan.
Hello, Tegan. We're going to tell the crabs in the bucket story now in honor of Tegan. Well, hold on to the crabs in the bucket. I wanted to say something about what you said before. Sometimes, now be careful. Be careful, kids. Uncle Mordant's going to get a little woo-woo. So just relax, sit back, and ride the woo-woo train.
Darker side of positive will clean it up for you.
There you go. There you go, baby. Now, I am a big believer in the law of attraction and how it is affected with quantum physics and, stirring the quantum soup and all that. When somebody starts saying, I wish I can do that, what's happening is they're getting caught in the wishing. It's almost like saying, I want to want that, as opposed to, I want to actually be that. I just want to wish because I'm really comfortable wishing here. And I call that one-on-one. It's like somebody saying, I want to be an author, but they don't. Do you really? Do you want to be an author? Do you want to sit down and cloister yourself away for hours at a time by yourself, cranking out stuff, rewriting and writing and rewriting again? Do you really want that? Or you just want to do that? Do you want to be able to say you want to be a writer or an author because it sounds cool and makes you sound noble? It's a noble pursuit. So sometimes you say, I wish I could do that. It gets caught. It gets caught in the wishing, as opposed to like with Charles, what he said was, I am this. I do this. I almost said I do. Yeah, we're adults here. I am this. I am a podcaster. I am internet radio. I am, self-helpy guy. Charles, he is head of a podcasting conglomeration empire.
A world-renowned empire. I'll take it.
World-renowned, at least our world.
That's right.
Now,
that's the only one that matters.
And that really, the universe listens to that. The quantum soup around you listens to that. We're affecting by what we think, by what we believe, reality around us. We're certainly affecting how we act and react to stuff. If we believe that, I just want to do this, and the first hiccup comes, then you're like, oh, it's not time for me yet. As opposed to, no, I am doing this. The hiccup comes, that's part of me doing this. So you keep moving forward. You keep moving over it instead of letting it take you down or keep you down. So that's what that is.
Would you agree that if you hit no bumps in the road, if everything's just smooth sailing, either you're the one in the million who's actually just born to do what you do, or you're not going in the right direction?
Here's what I'm going to say about that. I think that is probably one of the worst things that can happen to you if there's no bumps in the road. Because later on, where there are bumps in the road, you won't know how to handle it. You will not have, you can use we'll use the working out idea. You go in, you work out with little weights until you build up your muscle and you can get to bigger weights. If you don't work out with any of those little weights and suddenly you try to lift the big weights, you're not going to be able to do it. You're going to hurt yourself. You're going to hurt your tendons. You're going to probably pull a muscle. Same thing. If early on you don't hit bumps in the road, you're not going to be able to deal with that. I think it was Thomas Stanley, who wrote the book, The Millionaire Mind and The Millionaire Next Door. And he talked about, I believe it was in The Millionaire Mind, he talked about how wealthy families do one of two things. They'll either give their children money to start off their lives so that, I'm going to give my kids the start that I never had. And I'm going to make sure that they're able to go farther than I'm ever able to go. And the other family goes, I'm going to train you to do everything that I know how to do. Now, the first family trains them as well. But the other family goes, I'm going to train you how to do this, everything that I've done. And when you start having a hiccup or when you start having money problems, it's on you to figure it out. I will not give you any money at all. It's on you. Now, what happens in the first family, although they have great intentions, is that once there's that first hiccup, they'll go, oh, I'll just give you some more money and you'll be able to get through this. In the second family, what happens is that the kids actually go, oh no, mommy and daddy are not going to give me any money. What am I going to do? I have to figure this out. The first family, what really happens is those kids learn to depend on that injection of money, that injection of income. So they don't learn how to deal with the problems. They just learn how to get money from mom and dad. So they don't learn how to do this on their own. While the second family, they learn how to deal with the hiccups. That gives them confidence. It gives them self-esteem. And then when bigger problem comes, they know how to deal with that as well. Or they're not afraid to face them because they have learned that, oh, look, my muscles are big enough with dealing with this. I am a business person. I'm not here because mommy and daddy gave me the money. I'm here because they gave me the know-how and then pushed me out the nest. And I had to learn how to fly. So that's what I believe about that.
I agree. I get two thoughts on it. One, in agreement with what you're saying, I was homeschooled. As I look back on it, I think I was homeschooled partially because my parents wanted to shelter me from the world outside of the religious home, but partially because I just see the world differently. I always have. I mean, if you can imagine, those who've worked with me that I've pissed off with the nation going, no, you don't see it my way, so just do it my way, And sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm not. But sometimes my vision just isn't caught, and I irritate people. But can you imagine that as a 6- and 7-year-old kid who doesn't see the world the way everybody else sees it? I could read in first grade. I could read at like a 4th grade level. I mean, teachers, when you're in a class of 30 and you're the lowest common denominator because you're smarter than everybody else or because you see it differently, that's not easy to deal with. So I was homeschooled for that reason. But what it has given me is those muscles, like you're talking about, to get past things. I can't tell you how many times I've become a rock god legend in an office or wherever I worked just because I sit down and I figure it out for myself, which is what I spent most of my school years doing, especially in high school. I was mostly self-taught with online programs and books and textbooks, those kind of things. When people are like, I don't know what to do. Well, why don't you try? Why don't you tell me what to do? What do you mean tell you what to do? I just don't get that. And I become the guy who can do the IT stuff and the guy who can do this and figure out that. And I'm like, well, you can figure it out too. All you have to do is try. And they don't have those muscles because they had a different experience. They didn't put them through the same bumps that I hit. So, I definitely, get what you're saying. Now, and a little bit different note, any couple dating or married or whatever, business partners even, that tells me, oh, we never fight. then you don't love each other enough. Because I may be overly passionate. I may be more passionate than most around me. I mean, my best friend says I have emotional embolisms, which means I emotionally fling my poo at people, you know. But the thing is, I mean, even Mordant and I have had our bouts where we've yelled at each other or had our moments where we're like, we had to talk things out. Because if you grow together, if you're truly invested in somebody else, your issues are going to hit each other. And if you can tell me you've been married for 10 years and you've never had a fight, either we're defining fight differently, or I just don't see that you're into each other that way, because the only way you can be apathetic is if you don't care. That's just my darker side of positive, I guess. My darker side of something there. I just don't get it. When you don't fight, when you don't hit those bumps in your relationships, you're not riding in the right kind of car.
And then when you have a big fight later on in the relationship, it's one of the first ones you have. It so rocks your world that you might not be able to get through it because you didn't have any of those little things. Now, we're not advocating go out and fight with your spouse, because, you know, that's going to help strengthen your relationship. But don't deny it that you have differences of opinion. You need to work it out, whether it's talking or if you're very passionate people and you respect each other and do it respectfully. Sometimes, you know, Charles and I yell at each other, but it's more of for us, it's more of an energetic thing. It's not like I'm pissed at you and I'm going to give you vile and all this other stuff. Right. So I just knocked my microphone.
Now you're going to get vile. No, it's a lot of times, vile. And even I think I could classify all of my real fights in my life in this category. It's a miscommunication. My head is in the wrong place, and yes, I'm sure the chat room is going to fill in the blank there. It's not in the right place. I don't hear what's actually or see what's actually going on, or vice versa. You know, you're distracted. You're seeing the world the way you're seeing your being, and you're not hearing what I'm actually saying. We do it all the time. Try that sometime with your wife or your friends at work. Say something, get them to respond. When you know they're not quite listening, then ask them to tell you what you said, and they'll come back with what they heard. And you're like, well, actually what I said was this, and have it written down on a piece of paper. You know, it's a good, fun little party trick 1 or 2 times. You know, actually what I said was this. What you heard was you're wrong. You know, what you heard was it's your fault. You know, that's usually that's where my fights with my wife have come in. That's where and I got all my major vile fighting out with my wife. She is the rock of my world, man. I tell you, she put up with all of my crap. She took all those horrible, horrible fights and taught me how to handle things in a better way. I mean, she gave back, don't get me wrong, but you know, a lot of people, what I did in our relationship as far as the emotional, you know, damage, the marriage would have been over, and it wasn't. And that's something very, very valuable to me. And therefore, when you and I have gotten into our moments, it's usually, okay, we got to take a step back and take a breath and figure out what's really going on. Because whatever we think is going on is not going on, because this doesn't feel right.
Right. And that's what, going along with what you said, that's exactly how you do it. Okay, listen, this is what I heard you say. And I've had the other person go, no, this is what I meant. Oh, okay, well, that's not as bad. Or, you know, we'll really get into it. So if you want to call in, that number is 813-413-7133. I got a gentle reminder from Rock Girl in the chatterbox. So call on in, 813-413-7133. Before we get any further, and I don't want us, we're getting close to the end. I don't want to miss this point about what do you do when you're faced with a hiccup? What can you do to help yourself overcome that and not just be knocked to the ground, not to get up again?
Right.
So the first thing I recommend is take a breath. Take a moment. You know, you've been knocked to the ground, whatever it is, you know, you're allowed to reel from that punch. If you got hit really hard, if you're down on the ground, you're allowed to go, okay, I got hurt a little bit here. Take a breath, you know, and, you know, regroup yourself as you do that. So that's the first thing that I recommend doing. And I just got another call, 813-413-7133 is the number, another one from the chat room. The second thing you can do, take a look. When you've calmed down enough, when you've regrouped enough, take a look at what went wrong. Take a good look at it and go, okay, maybe this happened, or maybe we went through this, and this is exactly what's going wrong. That's the next thing. The third thing is take time to re-strategize. Now, how are you going to approach this problem, or how are you going to deal with this problem from that point on? How are you going to sidestep the hiccup, get over it, deal with it? What are you going to do so that it doesn't happen again, or so that you're able to overcome it? So take time to re-strategize. And the fourth thing, take back your ground and go beyond, which means basically get back up on that horse and go at it. That's the main reason why I'm going to do my little speechy thing again for this month, because otherwise I'm going to drag my feet even more next month. And that's not good. I need to take back that ground I lost and go beyond. So those are the four things. Take a breath, take a look at what went wrong, take time to re-strategize, and then take back your ground and go beyond.
So you're saying you get knocked down, but you get up again? You're never going to keep me down?
Yes.
That's awesome.
I am saying, and that is a good theme song. Maybe we should tag that at the end of this one.
I can't do that, but we can talk about it. So that'd be cool.
We can talk about it. We're not allowed to play it.
So how do you stop yourself from overanalyzing? That is an excellent question. We don't have enough time to really get, but try it. How do you stop yourself from overanalyzing?
I think the thing is, don't get caught up in the re-strategization, the re-strategization program.
Wow, big words.
Don't get caught on that. You got to get back on that horse. The reason I'm not waiting till next month to do it again is because I need to get back on that horse. You got to get back in the ring and start taking your swings, doing whatever it is. Try to figure out as best you can, but hit it again. You can look at it for a long time and go, well, maybe this happened, and maybe I'm not good enough, or maybe I'm not meant to do this, or maybe, I'm dumb, or whatever. Or you can go at it again, because it's the perseverance that's going to get you through this. It's going to keep going at it. It's the action that's going to keep you going through this. You don't want to just overanalyze for too long. You want to look at it, but don't get stuck in that. Death by analyzation.
I think what helps is like the first step. Don't skip that first step. First step is take a breath. For those who have ever gone swimming, or I grew up in the pool. I mean, that's my childhood. And you're swimming, you're trying to stay as deep as you can, or stay in the water as long as you can. And as soon as you come up, that first breath you take, it just stops the world. When you're taking a deep breath, you don't really hear anything. You definitely don't see anything. And it resets you. And it takes a couple of seconds for you, or maybe less, but it takes a couple of seconds for you to get right with the world. That's what you should do when you have that bad breakup, when you have that bad fight, when you have that moment where you thought your podcasting empire was about to conquer the world, and then you just get kicked in the dirt again. You have to take that breath. When I was on the side of the road on I-20 with my wife and a new baby and a toddler, and the baby and the toddler are crying, my wife's uncomfortable, and we were just at my parents' house, which at the time made us miserable every time we left, and it's after dark, and we're on the side of the road, have no gas, and I was sitting here, and I finally, for the first time in my adult life, I finally took my breath and said, how did I get here again? And I listened to myself for the answer. But if you don't take that breath, you're just going to repeat, you're going to overanalyze, you're going to get stuck, you're going to get the same guy, you're going to get the same girl, you're going to get the same crappy job. You're going to stay the same in your life until you take that breath.
Yep. Now, for some people, taking that breath is just as simple as count to 10. Count to 10, relax. And that's what it's all about. You want to just relax. Don't, get over the guilt, get over the blaming yourself or blaming somebody else. Relax. It's all good. You're going to be fine. You're going to get through this. So that's where the taking breath comes in, so that you're not reactionary, so that you're not, you're not blaming yourself or yelling at your wife or doing so, or driving badly or whatever it is. Just relax. Take a breath. Take a moment. Take a personal moment. Uncle Mordant says you can take a personal moment and go, all right, I'm checking out for about 5 minutes. I'll be back. Hang on. Okay, I'm back now. Now let's move forward. What was the problem here? This is the problem. Okay, well, how am I going to deal with that? Okay, I'm going to try dealing with it this way. And if that doesn't work, then we'll try something else. And then you move forward and you take care of it. Glory, hallelujah, we have a caller. 770, welcome to the other side of live.
Hey there, it's Fraught Girl.
I'm right, girl. How are you?
I'm doing good. I just wanted to check the number. Rhino says it wasn't working, and I wanted to call in and make sure it was. I'm actually still listening to the show in one ear, but what a lag. Anyway, I had something to add. Earlier, y'all were talking about the people giving money to their kids and them growing up that way and not knowing what their parents went through. And you see a lot of it in the music industry, and people that are stars, their kids come up expecting to be big stars and big rock stars or whatever as their parents did because of their genes. And, the way they grew up, they expect to have the voice of their parents or acting skills, but they don't go through the hard times like their parents did. And I just related that when you were talking about that. It's like they expect everything given to them, but their parents are the ones that scraped through the hard times and learned their craft going through all of that.
That's right. The people who are at the top of their game, the ones that are the best of the best, are the people who went and put in the time, put in the hours that it took in training and learning and overcoming hiccups or coughs.
Exactly.
I think it's Nicolas Cage is is a Coppola. I think, he's related. I don't know if he's a son or how he's related to Francis Ford Coppola. He took his own name so that he would be the one that went in and he was successful on his own merits. And I think that's very commendable. And as you can see, he's put in the time. Some people don't like him as an actor, but you can't deny that he's up there. He's an A-lister. He's one of the best of the best. And it wasn't his name, Coppola, that did it. It was Cage.
Right. Yeah, and there's a lot that have done that, and a lot that have not succeeded because they didn't work for it. I mean, like Lisa Presley. I mean, she could have a good voice, she could be a good singer, but she never worked for it, and therefore she jumped in just with a name and tried to make a name for herself, and she couldn't do it because she didn't have the chops for it, because she hadn't worked for it.
Right. Now, I don't know how far or how hard she's worked. I know that she's put some effort into her craft, but I think you're right in that she certainly did not put in the man hours or the as much effort as her father did or other performers who are there. I may be wrong. She may be, with a musical coach, with a voice coach, hours and hours and hours, but I'll bet you she's not. I bet you she's spent some time there. And I think she came out. I liked her song that she came out with, and I wanted to hear more, but nothing since has come. So, who knows?
Right. Yeah. But you see it all the time where the children of stars get up there, and a lot of them, like you're saying with Cage, if they really think this is their calling, they will try not to ride on the coattails of their parents or their siblings or whatever, and really put effort into it, right, and work on it. I mean, I've seen that with Josh Brolin. I mean, he started from the very bottom and worked his way up to where he's, a very good star and good at his craft, but he never counted on his father's name to get there.
And these are all good points.
I don't know if you're familiar with him or not, but...
Yes.
Well, these are all good points, but that sound that you heard means it is time for us to start winding it down because we're coming up on our time.
Thank you for calling in, Rock Girl. Thank you and for joining us here on the other side of Live.
Great show. Y'all have a good night.
Thank you. So, Charles, start pimping us out. It's time to wind everything down. Well, before we do that, let me just throw out one more time that... the 4 things that you should do: take a breath, take a look at what went wrong, take time to re-strategize, and then take back your ground and go beyond. That's how you're going to overcome your hiccups, or at least give yourself a fighting chance to do it. Get off the couch and move forward. Charles, start that big pimping.
So, of course, the best place to find us, I like it when you call me big pimping. The best place to find us is facebook.com/BCTOSOL, Bear Calling Tosol. Right? BCTOSOL. BCN. I thought I was doing that wrong.
You can just look for The Other Side of Live on Facebook. We're there.
There you
go. It is BCN Tosol.
And, of course, mordantworld.com. You can find you and all the things that you do in life.
You can find older shows at theothersideoflive.com.
What is the email for this show here?
It is Tosol, T-O-S-O-L, Tosol, which stands for The Other Side of Live, at theothersideoflive.com. So Tosol at theothersideoflive.com. If you will email us and you throw questions out, we will probably put them on the show unless you ask us not to. Happy to do that.
And you
of course, those of you who are listening to the podcast version, we are live every Tuesday at 9:30 Eastern Time at bearcrawlingnation.com/NAS.
There you go. And you can find me there on Thursday nights, 9:30 p.m. Eastern, also with my Not Your Mama's podcast going on with the Bear Crawling Live show.
Where he is definitely the darker side of positive, or the darker side of something there.
And take us home, my friend.
All right, thank you everybody for listening in to the Other Side of Other Side of Live and learning how to deal with and overcome your hiccups. We will see you in about a week or so.
So raise your
Ciao, Dreamcatchers.
So raise your glass if you are wrong.